We're back in Amsterdam with Adeline, and we're taking a little ferry over to pickled herring. There's a pickle right there. When I first got back into the boat, it was a little depressing because everything was just completely covered in mold, and a rat had got into the boat and eaten a bunch of stuff and chewed everything up. But I just got some paper towels out and started cleaning it up, and it's looking a lot better now. So we'll just carry on. All right, we're off on our first adventure. We're gonna be sailing into the lakes here and visiting a little island with the harbor town. It's gonna be a fun little trip. And first thing is to head out of the marina. Watch the crane. Yep. I almost ran into the crane when I got here because it was hanging out over here. I picked a nice, sunny, calm day to go on the first outing this year on the pickled herring. I just want to get refamiliarized with the boat and get some confidence in it again. I had some engine troubles before I left, and I think I've got those sorted out. But I just want to kind of make sure. And we'll get the boat re-rigged. So we'll start off by just exploring these lakes here and visiting some of these islands I've had recommended. There's some over here, and then across over here is like a nature preserve. And they'll work our way up into the other lakes and through the locks up to the Wadden Sea. And that'll be a good base to wait for the weather to get better in the English Channel. Working our way down through Belgium and France towards Spain. I just need to wait for the weather to get better in the channel. You can see there's kind of a gale blowing in the opposite direction we want to go. The motor's been running pretty good, but I'm a little worried about the fuel. It's been sitting for 5 months. So I'm gonna probably check the fuel filters every hour or two and just see if they're clogging up. I'm sure that they will clog up eventually. We're riding pretty flat right now. The gunk might be sitting on the bottom of the tank, so we might be okay for this trip. But if it gets like sloshed around, I can see this stuff kind of stirring up and clogging our fuel filter. A lot of the times they have cars in the back of these boats.
Really?
Yeah. He's just got a motorboat on the back of his. It's interesting.
They're so close.
Yeah, it got really close.
How do I take this
So then
out?
you push that one, makes it come out. Get about towards the middle. And then this on top, right?
Yeah.
Apologies to the Dutch people. I got your flag on upside down. Looks good, yeah. Beautiful. Here's the Marken Island Lighthouse. Marken Island Lighthouse. We've been motoring for about 2 hours with no problems on the motor, but I'm going to check the fuel filter and to see how gunked up it is, because coming up soon we're going to be going into the island, and we'll have the island on our lee side, so I don't want to risk anything going wrong here. So that's looking pretty good in my book. I'll just put it back in there. Oops. We got the cheese. Cheese doodles. All the way from Norway. Here's the harbor. I'm gonna wait for this ferry boat to come out before I go in. Let's see if we can find the guest spot. It's only a Tuesday, so it shouldn't be too hard, hopefully. I don't think it's really the season yet either. Oh, that's a cool ship. So I can't read this, but it looks like they use the red-green system here. That one has a green flag, so I think it's open. Here we are. Got ourselves a green spot. I had to do a few tricky turnarounds, but it wasn't too windy, so it was achievable. Oh, they even got power here.
Yeah, I got.
They even got power, so yeah, we could run a little heater if we need to, maybe.
Cool.
Maybe that's the harbor map. That's a cool bridge. All the shoes. A shoe and a shoe. Steam machine. Elbows, I guess. walk to the lighthouse. We had a lovely time on Marken Island, and now we're heading out to a nature reserve, which I don't think will have as much like shops and restaurants and stuff, but it looks like it'll be a pretty cool place. There's a lot of birds and stuff here.
Birds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can imagine the other place will have a lot more too.
Definitely.
All right, out we go. Check for the ferry, left and right.
Coast clear.
Coast is clear. In the harbor.
It's just like so general.
I think.
It's just like.
The wind has picked up, but it's right on our nose. It was supposed to be coming from the south, so it should have been a nice kind of broad reach across this island, but we're gonna just be tacking straight towards it. It's only like 9 miles away though, so we should still get there before sunset. It would have been a little easier if the wind forecast was anything like it said. But at least we got plenty of wind, so we're sailing and not motoring today. The sails are pretty full. See, I'm reading about the shipwrecked men. I think it's the Spanish sailors like going through Florida. So we are coming up on this, it is a man-made island. Not sure what that structure is over there. There's the harbor. Just gonna make the sunset. Turned on the motor the last couple miles. It's nice to have a more powerful diesel to be able to do that, just so we can beat the sunset.
For the last stretch.
Yeah,
Almost there.
we're there. Here we are on the island, just as the sun's setting. I think we missed the harbor master, but we'll get him tomorrow.
Yes.
Let's go for a walk.
What's the island called again? We
We
don't know, do we?
I forgot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's nice.
It's a good island. Here's our upwind track for today. You can see I cheated at the end and motored a little bit, but here we are in the harbor. What is this?
Oh, this is an insect hotel.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. See, they live inside here. Where's the one that was occupied? The big one. There. That's a big one.
One
Is it?
one resident.
Someone lives there.
The island
Um,
of birds.
yes.
And they've
Bird
got
island.
little bird watching huts, so you can sneak up on them
Yeah.
and get them.
Oh, it's nice.
There he goes.
Good perspective.
I've got a few new gadgets this year for the boat. The first one is an anemometer, which is another name for a wind sensor. This one is kind of cool because it's sonic, I think, or it's solid state. There's no like spinning, moving thing to break off on top of the mast. And this one comes from Calypso Instruments. I met the guy at the Miami Boat Show, and he set me up with this. So I'm excited to give that a try. I've always thought wind sensors were a little bit silly because I can just tell you what the speed of the wind is just by listening to it or feeling it. But the one thing that kind of made me want to give this one a try is it does have they gave me the NMEA Marine Network adapter, and it's interesting. So this should be able to plug into my little tiller pilot, and then the tiller pilot can do steer to wind, so that would make it kind of like a wind vane. So there's pros and cons to that, to having an electric pilot versus a wind vane, and I want to maybe experiment with this. So I'm gonna mount this just on top of the boat and test it out, and then if it works, then I'll try to put it up on the mast where it has a little bit less obstruction. It just goes on with a little thread
threaded bolt, and I actually made a 3D printed adapter so I could use the screw size that I had.
So along with being solid state, the best part is there's no wires to run if I want to put this up the mast. It has a solar panel for power. It's supposed to last for many days. And then the signal is completely wireless. And that is a big advantage for me. Installing one of these things would just be a big pain in the butt, I think, if I had to run power and whatever data cables up to the mast or wherever I wanted to install it. And I mean, marine electronics is not my strong point. You can see the rat's nest of wires I've got going in here. I don't want to add any more. So this is really the only way I'd be willing to put a wind sensor if it was wireless and solar powered.
The next gadget we've got is, I'm really excited about this guy. It's called a yacker, and I can hold it up here. I've already started installing it. So it's really just this tiny little box here, and what it does is it transmits the AIS signal that my radio generates to a Wi-Fi network, which means I can see the AIS signal on the phone. And the AIS is just, it's basically a tracking system for ships. So ships that are broadcasting their location, their location used to show up on a very small little dot matrix screen on my radio, which was kind of nice, but kind of hard to use also. So now that location information will appear on my phone on the Navionics app. Is the one I use. There's other apps you can use too. So I'll be able to see all the other ships around me, and most all big ships are broadcasting this. Some fishing boats are, some aren't, and some yachts are, and some aren't. But it's a safety feature, and it'll be very nice to have that on my phone. So when I'm resting in bed, I can just have it really quickly to be able to glance if the ships are, getting closer or what's going on out there. This is an Australian company. It's very reasonably priced. I think it's about, if you're outside of Australia, I think it's like $80 to have it shipped. There's also a cheaper one that's like $60 that only has one NMEA converter, and that would have worked also for my purpose. I would like to add the depth to this also. So that would take your depth information and also transmit it to Navionics for making your own charts. But that would be in the future. I need to haul the boat out and put the new depth sensor in. But that's available in the future. Really cool little device. It installed real easy. The guy was real helpful. He actually drew up a wiring diagram for me. I just needed to connect the two wires from the NMEA network coming out of the radio, and then the power red and black cables. And so let's plug it in and see if it works.
So the screen on my radio this year has stopped working, which is kind of a bummer. But luckily I do have the remote, and the remote screen still works, which has basically all the same functions. So that's okay. Not really a problem. So let's see, we're getting lights, looks like, on the device. Let's connect to the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi network showed up, twin yacker right there. And after a few minutes of waiting, these little green boat icons showed up on my Navionics app, so you can click them and see a little more information. For some reason, most of them don't actually show the names. I'm not sure why that is, but I don't really care too much about the names. I never really call boats on the radio. But I'm really looking forward to having this in the English channel with so many ships. It's going to be nice to have. And you can see that as a big improvement over this little screen that just tells you, the range and which kind of direction they're from. So just gonna screw this on up here, and here you can see their app they've got, so that wind speed looks relatively accurate, maybe a little bit low, but maybe once it's on the mast it'll pick up a more accurate wind speed. And then you got this graph here, which could be kind of useful to see. So I'm planning on actually putting this, I've got this really old iPhone I kind of use for Navionics just as a backup down here, so I can have that going. Just kind of fun to see the wind speed, I guess. Maybe we'll see how useful that is. And then of course hooking it up to the autopilot should be a fun project in the future. So thanks for watching. I'm currently in Den Helder, and just waiting for the wind and the weather in the English Channel to get better. And then I'm going to be sailing on to Belgium and then down through the Channel. We'll just see how the weather says, but next week's looking pretty good. And in the next video, it's a little bit more of me sailing at the lakes, getting up here. That should be out soon. I'll see you guys then.